Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Man, the first time I've seen you face to face is weird, man, because we've done like, I don't even know how many interviews online. Isn't it a weird world where like you could know somebody online and even speak to them face to face online, but you just never actually ever physically met them?
Yeah, no, it's pretty common too. I've got even a couple of sponsors of mine that I feel like I know really well, but I've never even shook their hand.
Yeah, this is trip, right? Trip, but
Yeah.
But you're here. You're in Phuket. You're in Phuket. Is this your first trip out here?
Yeah, it's my second actually. I came here in 2015 with Richie Vass. You know Richie Vass?
Now, I've heard the name, but I don't know the face though.
Yeah, he fought in the UFC. He was in the flyweight division. And yeah, we came out here on a show actually, and we had a Thai fight. So no, that was cool. I was over at Tiger though, so this is my first time out of Bangtao.
For sure. And what show was that?
What show?
Yeah, like you were on the show?
Yeah, I don't even know the name of it. It was at Bangla Stadium.
Okay.
Just we got there, and then Richie Vass just said, "Oh, boys, we're in Thailand now. Do you guys want to fight?" And we were there for like 10 days, and we were all just young, hungry guns, and we were just like, "Fuck yeah, we want to fight."
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
was George down there? Did you meet him at Tiger when the first time you came around?
Yeah, I did actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I trained with George a little bit. Yeah, doing some wrestling and MMA stuff. That was good, but I think Bangtao is just like a little bit more relaxed. Don't you think? Like,
Yeah.
I find it way more chill out here, and everyone's just here for training, and real good vibe.
Yeah, that's what everybody says when they come out here is that the vibe is different and the training is high level as well. It's hard to create that combination.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really good training environment.
And what brings you out here this time around?
This time I needed a change up, man. I just needed to chase some good training, and just like even the thought of isolating myself a little bit. To be fair though, I come out here, I booked my flights pretty much as I got this fight, but I was coming out here anyway. So I was booking flights to come out here regardless, and it just so happened that I got offered a fight right as I did that, so it worked out perfectly just to do like pretty much half my camp here.
Where's Josh? Why don't you bring Josh out here, man?
Oh man, that would have been sick, but Josh is just coming off a tough fight, that 3-round war that he had with Silva, so yeah, he'll be recovering a little bit, I'd say, and hopefully we'll even get a couple of rounds in when I go home just before I head back out to Brazil.
For sure. So how many weeks of your camp are you doing out here?
3.5 weeks here. I kind of kick-started it just a week before I left. 3.5 weeks here, and then I've got 2 weeks at home, and then we go to fight week. So, yeah, it's a good little camp.
What have you been focusing on out here?
I think it's highly like wrestling based. I've done a lot of wrestling and grappling this last week that I've been here, so I can already feel some big improvements there.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that I've found, just so much grappling and wrestling, and the level of guys out here for that I've been getting minced up. It's good.
Yeah. There's the wrestling is like hardcore, like it's hardcore. That's all I gotta say. If you're not really a fighter, or if you're not really in this for the long run, man, I don't think you should be doing the wrestling, to be honest with you.
Oh man, wrestling's tough. Like, wrestling is one of the toughest sports. You just know the mentality of wrestlers, the grind, and then that physical grind when you're actually doing it. It's tough stuff, man. That's why everyone likes jiu-jitsu and not as many people like wrestling, because it's tough.
Yeah, there's no sitting pretty in a position in wrestling, right?
No.
There's always movement.
But wrestling wins fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. True. Wrestling does win fights. You dictate where the fight takes place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you've been doing, everything, taking classes here and there, which looks good. And, the upcoming fight, UFC 301. There's only 2 Australians heading over to Brazil, you and Steve Erceg. You're facing off against Mauricio Ruffy. What do you think of him, man?
Yeah, dangerous young fighter. It's going to be a tough test going into his backyard. He's going to come with that nervous, kind of like excited energy that I'll be ready for. And he's really well rounded, man. He's got a good skill set. He's like a heavy counter striker, so I'll be ready for that. And looking to just push a pace and get the win.
Yeah, it's interesting because the last 2 opponents you had were John McDessie and Nasrat, right?
Yes.
And these guys are legit like veterans, just like yourself. You know what I mean? They've had a bunch of fights in the UFC, and now you're facing off against a guy that's debuting. You know what I mean? What do you think of the matchmaking, or is it just if they offer something that you like, you just take it?
Yeah, man. I'm actually grateful that they give me this just for the fact that I wanted to fight May, because I know the UFC is coming to Perth in August, so I want to get on that card. So if I have fought, but I wanted to fight before then as well. So I asked, and they come straight back and said, okay, we've got this, May 4th, do you want it? And I said, yep, 100%. So, because if I fought any later than May, I wouldn't be fighting in August, I don't think.
And that's been your attitude for a long time, especially with the UFC. Do you feel like you get fights offered more just because, you're more no nonsense and you just take the fights as they come?
Maybe, but I've got to be careful not to do that too much as well. You know what I mean? That was actually a little bit of a lesson that I learnt last year. Look, man, it could have come out with me on top when I fought Nasrat, but I just didn't feel as excited as I should have felt to be fighting Nasrat Haqparast. I just felt like it was another camp, back-to-back camps, and physically I felt great, but mentally I just wasn't that excited for the fight. And that's at this level, you can't not be there mentally. You have to be 120%. Like my coach Ross Pearson says, you have to be excited to hurt someone. You really do.
And why do you think it was like that? Do you feel like it was just the grind of so many camps, and also when you're not in camp, you're still training and helping your teammates out as well, you know what I mean? So that can be exhausting in many ways.
Yeah, I think it was back-to-back camps, man, and then also fighting in the Apex. Yeah. That I don't know. It's just it sucks. It's not fun. Like it's not the excitement and the energy that you feel from a live crowd. Good or bad, that's why we do it. It's it gets you a lot more up and running. So
I feel like you're more of that type of fighter, where you really you really show yourself in front of a crowd. You're in many ways you're an entertainer with your style, right? And without having that energy, it almost takes that away from you. In some ways, I guess it could kind of mess with you a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure. And look, I got caught in that fight, so I'm not saying that it's just because of that, but I think a lot of fighters will agree with me that fighting in the Apex just takes that boost out of it. It just takes that electric energy that you feel when you're walking into a stadium full of roaring fans. And you're right. Like my style, when I hear the crowd start pumping up in that third round, like who wants it more? Like it just makes you go fuck. Like with that McDessie fight, that's exactly what I heard, and it was just gives you that push,
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And man, it could have been worse, man. Peter Yan won the world title on Fight Island in front of nobody.
Yeah.
which is insane, right?
Yeah, well, there you go. Like, it can take away from a win, and then it can make you underperform. But look, a fight's a fight,
Yeah.
and I'm still grateful that the UFC is able to put on as many shows as they can, because they got a lot of fighters and a lot of mouths to feed. So it needs to be done.
Yeah, for sure. And what does the rest of the camp look like when you head back to Australia?
I'll probably be finishing my camp at home at Central Coast MMA, but I would say that I'll be getting guys in, like Josh and some of the Lions Den guys, and I might even travel to down south to Freestyle MMA for some rounds as well. It's just hard. Like, that's the thing that I'm trying to juggle with at home, because I have to travel a little bit and like to get different sparring partners. So the traveling can take it out of you, but you just got to do what you got to do when you're at home. That's why being out here is so great, because 5 minutes from the gym, and we've got like
Everything.
high level guys from all over the globe. So it's really, really good. I'm learning every day.
Isn't it a trip to like meet people here from Australia, but you guys didn't know you were coming?
Yeah, and there's heaps of that. There's heaps of that. So, and a lot of like the Russian, Bulgarian grapplers. I'm learning so much, man. So it's really good.
Going back to your opponent, he's been fighting welterweight. I think the last time he made lightweight was like in 2022. Even his Contender Series fight was at welterweight. That's gonna be very interesting to see if he makes weight. You know what I mean? Because weight cutting is no joke, man. I think people brush it off because it's not something that you see. You know what I mean? Like the fights,
Yeah.
you see them live. You know what I mean? But weight cutting, you don't really see that. You just see the scale.
Yeah.
And what do you think of that? You know what I mean? Could that be a possible hindrance for him?
It could be if he doesn't have the right weight cut, but if he cuts weight correctly, then he might be big and strong in there. That's just, but it's a fine line. You can either have it go one way or the other, but I'm sure he's got it under control, and I think he's gonna bring it.
Yeah, and if he does miss weight, I don't think you're the type of guy to be like, nah, I'm not gonna fight. You probably want to take that extra cash.
Yeah. yeah. Like, there's probably a limit somewhere.
Yeah.
If he misses by like 5 kilos, then that's
Yeah,
not even
true.
an attempt. But yeah, man. If he misses weight, I'll just be pissed off to hurt him more.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I was watching a video that you put out. This was a little bit ago, I think, about mental health awareness. Like, you went to some mental health awareness meeting or something, and you were talking about how mental health is something that's like real serious. And we saw Ronda Rousey kind of come out and talk about that stuff as well. And then Volk talked about it. Dustin Poirier talked about it. What were the mental battles for you, man? Like, throughout the years competing.
Yeah, man. It's something that doesn't get talked about much, and it's real. It's a real thing that a lot of people go through, and we've all sort of gone through those sort of battles and fighting the demons and stuff. So and I guess when you're coming off a loss, there is quite a bit of that. There's just questions. Your mind is going a lot. So that's why sometimes I'm just trying to remind myself that we're fighting at the highest level, and there will be losses, there will be downs, but got to get back on the horse and go again. But it's something that's important to me, and it's even good that the likes of Volk and Dustin Poirier have come out and spoken about it as well, because it just shows that no matter who you are, how strong you are, you can have these things creep up on you.
Yeah, we can't really tell from looking at a person at all. I mean, very rarely you can tell by looking at a person if they're going through something, if they're battling something. Like, for you throughout your career, What was the hardest battle to overcome, and then overcoming it? You know what I mean? Because this game is never like you win, 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 win. It's very, very rarely like that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think there's just been ups and downs along the way. I would say when I had my first 2 losses in a row, that was pretty tough because I went 9-0 as a professional and then lost 2 straight. So that rocked me quite a bit and just took some time to recover myself and get over those mental battles and those hurdles.
How did you do that? It was just training?
Yeah, I didn't stop training, but I really took some time off the, like, just not pedal to the metal in camps, stressing the body, stressing the mind. I just went back to enjoying training, enjoying my family, enjoying like just being a human being and just not under so much pressure all the time.
Yeah.
And that's important too. That's another thing that fighting so frequently can do, like being so what's the word I'm looking for, being so
Intense?
no, it's so busy. Like if you're such an active fighter, being so active, that can bring those problems.
Oh, for sure. And it seems like inactivity can do the same thing. To some fighters, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man, it's just, I think that stuff should be talked more about because, you know, I've talked to so many fighters behind the scenes where they're talking about retirement and you're like, what? You're like 20 something years old, you know what I mean? But I think it's more of them battling themselves, thinking like, I'm this good, but I haven't been able to show it to the world.
Exactly.
Is that the biggest battle for a fighter sometimes?
Yeah, well, that's that. Like you just said, sometimes you've got no idea, and that's just the battles that go on in your head. Like there's so many times where I've wanted to quit, and you kind of ask yourself, yeah, you know, do I really belong here? And that's when those doubts kind of creep in, and that's when you just have to remind yourself and really like affirm that you do belong here, you know?
Yeah, there's that question I've heard a lot. Fighters talking about themselves and saying, do I belong here? That question is like, and I'm thinking, you are there.
Yeah.
You just gotta show, you know.
But that's what a loss can do to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can just bring up a lot of questions that need to be answered. So that's the game. It's a cruel game.
Yeah, it is a cruel game.
Yeah.
Man. It is a cruel game.
Yeah.
Russian roulette, basically, right? When you go in there, it's just like you said, anybody can get caught at any time.
Yeah.
You know, we saw it in championship fights. You know, Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
Losing the whole fight, and then one combo,
Bang.
it's over. Now he's the champ. People are even like, they don't even talk about Kamaru Usman anymore. You know what I mean? Even though he was one of the best ever at welterweight.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's another thing that people forget very quickly. So you just got to focus on yourself, man. Focus on yourself and be happy with it.
What about this talk about a 165 division? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I heard about this. I think you were telling me the other day. Man, I think it's great. It would mean that there would be guys that aren't torturing themselves just to make 155. It would open up a whole nother division, open up opportunity for more guys to take more fights. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, man, I think there will be some exciting matchups. You know what I mean? Guys that make 170, but they could probably actually make 165, you know what I mean, without much problems. And then there's guys that struggle to make 155 that don't have to cut that extra 10 pounds. And I think we'll see some crazy matchups, man.
I do too. I think you'd almost be like merging two divisions together.
Yeah, and there's plenty of them, man. Lightweight is the most stacked division. You know, there's more lightweights, I think, in the world than any other division, right?
Yeah. I think I read somewhere that we've got like 95 lightweights, and the next nearest UFC division in the UFC is like 50 something
Yeah,
or
yeah.
60 something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's wild, man. It's
it's
wild.
stacked.
Steve Erceg, man, what about him, man? Just
Oh.
rising, and he's done it, without, just by winning, basically.
Yeah, no, he's stepped up. I think his first fight was against a top 10 guy,
Yeah.
and he's just he's risen to the occasion and stepped up and performed. And then that's just another another example in this sport that there's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
Like if you show up and perform, anything's possible. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen, man. Especially if you're open for the opportunities, right? I'm pretty sure they gave him a nice opportunity to take this fight, you know what I mean? And because, there were other options, but the dude is winning, and they want, Australia could have another champion. That's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it is. And like, props to Pantoja for taking the fight. I'm sure he just wanted to fight in Brazil as well, and maybe Erceg was the only guy that's putting his hand up. So that can just be it. He just skipped the queue.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. What about this BMF title that's coming up? The title fight at UFC 300 between Gaethje and Max Holloway. Max Holloway's been in the news a lot lately. I think because there's a lot of criticism of him moving up to lightweight because what happened last time. You know what I mean, against Poirier. What do you think of this matchup?
Oh man, I'm excited as hell for that fight. Like that's an absolute barn burner. And I don't see why anyone would be upset about that. Yeah, and again, props to Gaethje for doing it, because he's like right in that contender mix of stepping in for a title shot against Makhachev. So he deserves all the credit for stepping up and fighting a bad motherfucker like Max.
Yeah. They're both bad motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. Like that's gonna be an exciting fight.
I don't even think it's that risky for Gaethje, to be honest with you, because we've seen fighters get title shots off losses before, you know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter for him, I don't think, for the division. But
yeah.
Because now we got a new champion at featherweight as well, so it's not like Max has to go back to lightweight if he does win.
True.
He could go back to featherweight and to Poirier, it looks like he's like super famous in those countries that he's famous in, like Georgia and Spain, and like it's pretty wild, man. Like,
yeah.
How one thing can change your whole life.
Yeah.
He's getting citizenships in countries. It's just crazy. But
it's wild.
But yeah, man. Even like on the card, you're gonna be sharing it with Jose Aldo. Have you shared a card with Jose Aldo?
No, I haven't. I never have. That's like a dream, man. That's insane.
And he's coming back too.
Yeah. Oh, when I saw that, man, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is really special. So hopefully I get to get a photo with him, because he was like he's an all-time featherweight, and a favorite of mine when I was growing up. So
yeah. So what are your expectations of going to Rio? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm expecting hostility. Like just the Brazilian fans, man. They're just so passionate, and I wouldn't expect anything less. So I'm expecting to be stepping into real enemy territory and going to war.
Has the Brazilians been in the comments?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't really pay attention to that
Not
stuff,
really. Nah, I stopped looking at comments years ago. But they're such a passionate fan base. So I'm looking to silence the crowd.
How many countries have you fought in for the UFC? It's been a few, man.
Yeah. Most have been the US.
Yeah.
The US, Abu Dhabi. I think that's it.
US
and then
Abu Dhabi
Australia.
And Australia.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Now you're gonna tick off Brazil.
Yeah, this is part of the journey,
trifecta,
man.
right?
Yeah,
Australia,
exactly.
America, Brazil.
Yeah,
And Abu Dhabi is great because why? No tax.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the tax is like in Brazil actually. I haven't looked that up, but yeah, I'm hoping that it's not too bad.
Yeah. It's gonna be wonderful. Well, man, enjoy the rest of your time here in paradise. Cause look, man, we're on the beach.
Yeah.
And we'll be seeing you on the TV, man, on pay-per-view. Thank you so much, Jamie, for the
Nah,
time.
thank you, John. Can shake your hand this time.
Yeah.